My wife said she was going to her sister's wedding in Miami. I surprised her there and found her with another man. I thought surprising my wife in Miami would be romantic. Flying across the country to attend her sister's wedding with her, showing up when she thought I couldn't make it, being the supportive husband who found a way despite work obligations. I imagined her face lighting up when she saw me. I imagined us dancing at the reception, spending a few stolen days together in Florida, reconnecting away from the routine of our daily life. Instead, I opened a hotel room door and found my wife in bed with a stranger. Hey Reddit, I'm Mike, 35 years old, and this is the story of how a romantic surprise became the worst moment of my life and exposed my wife's double life that I'd been completely blind to. You know that moment when you realize your entire reality is a carefully constructed lie? When something you thought was solid ground turns out to be quicksand? That's where this story goes. But let me start from the beginning, because to understand how completely Jenny fooled me, you need to understand what our marriage looked like and how I missed every single warning sign. I met Jenny 8 years ago when I was 27 and she was 25. I was working as a construction supervisor, making about $65,000 a year. Jenny was working as a dental hygienist, making around $48,000. We met through a mutual friend at a cookout, hit it off immediately, and started dating within a week. Jenny was sweet, funny, easy to be around. She had this warm, approachable energy that made everyone comfortable. She was close with her family, especially her younger sister Kate, who was in college at the time. Jenny talked about Kate constantly, about how proud she was of her baby sister, how they'd always been best friends despite the 5-year age gap. We dated for a year before I proposed. Simple proposal at a nice restaurant, $4,000 ring that I'd saved up for over 6 months. Jenny cried happy tears, said yes immediately, called Kate before she even called her parents. Kate, he proposed. You're going to be my maid of honor. We got married when I was 28 and Jenny was 26. Small wedding, about 80 guests. Nothing fancy but nice. Kate was the maid of honor, beaming and excited for her big sister. Our wedding was fun, relaxed, exactly what we'd wanted. The first few years of marriage were good. We both worked, came home tired but happy, spent weekends hiking or trying new restaurants or just relaxing at home. We bought a 3-bedroom house in a decent neighborhood, $280,000 with a manageable mortgage. Started talking about having kids. Jenny got pregnant 3 years into our marriage. We were both excited and nervous. I'd been promoted to construction manager by then, making $78,000. Jenny was still working as a hygienist, but planned to cut back to part-time after the baby arrived. Our son Ben was born when I was 31, and Jenny was 29. Perfect, healthy, everything we'd hoped for. Jenny took maternity leave, then went back to work 3 days a week. I was working about 50 hours per week managing construction sites, making sure projects stayed on schedule and budget. Life with a toddler was exhausting but fulfilling. Ben was energetic and sweet, always laughing, always getting into Jenny was a good mom, patient, nurturing, involved. I worked long hours but tried to be present when I was home. Bedtime routines, weekend activities, family dinners when I wasn't working late. Our marriage settled into a comfortable routine, not passionate or exciting like when we first met, but stable, predictable, safe. We were partners raising a kid and managing a household and building a life together. Jenny stayed close with Kate, who'd graduated college and was working in marketing in Atlanta. They texted constantly, FaceTimed weekly, visited each other a few times a year. I liked Kate. She was fun, ambitious, supportive of Jenny. Their relationship was sweet. 3 months ago, everything seemed normal. I was managing a major commercial project, a new office complex that was behind schedule and stressful but manageable. Jenny was working her 3 days per week at the dental office, managing Ben's kindergarten schedule, handling the household stuff I didn't have time for. Then one evening in early September, Jenny came home from work excited. Kate's engaged. She's getting married. That's great. When? She wants a winter wedding in Miami. Her fiance's family is there and they found a beautiful venue on the beach. Miami in December sounds nice. We should start looking at flights. Jenny's expression shifted slightly. Actually, Kate asked me to come early to help with preparations, like a week early. She needs help with final fittings, coordinating vendors, all the last-minute wedding stuff. Her maid of honor duties are pretty involved. Okay, so we'll both go a week early. I can probably swing that. The thing is, the project. You mentioned it's going through mid-December. Can you really take a full week off during crunch time? She was right. The project was scheduled to run through December 15th, and my boss had already told me I was essential through completion. You're right. I probably can't do a full week, but I can definitely make it for the wedding itself. When is it? December 12th. But Mike, I really need to be there starting December 5th. Kate's stressed and needs my help. Would you be okay if I went early and you joined for the wedding weekend? It made sense. Jenny and Kate were close. Maid of honor responsibilities were significant, and my work obligations were real. I couldn't just abandon a major project in its final phase. Yeah, that works. You go help Kate, I'll wrap up the project, and I'll fly out for the wedding. We can maybe stay a few extra days after if you want. That would be perfect. Jenny hugged me, seeming relieved. Thank you for understanding. I know it's not ideal being separated, but Kate really needs me. Of course, family's important. Over the next few weeks, I noticed Jenny seemed more excited than usual about the upcoming trip. She'd talk about Miami, about the beach venue, about spending time with Kate. Normal sister excitement, I thought. But then I started noticing other things. Small things that individually meant nothing but added up to something I couldn't quite identify. Jenny started working out more. She'd always been reasonably active, but suddenly she was going to the gym 5 times. I want to look good in my maid of honor dress, she explained. The fitting is in a few weeks, and I want to feel confident. Made sense. Who doesn't want to look good in wedding photos? She started buying new clothes. Nice clothes, dresses, swimsuits, lingerie. I need vacation outfits. And when I notice shopping bags from expensive stores, I'll be in Miami for a week. I can't wear the same 3 outfits the whole time. Also made sense. But the lingerie? When I asked about the fancy underwear sets, she said, "Can't I just want to feel good about myself?" She became more secretive with her phone, would angle it away from me when texting, would take calls in another room. When I'd ask who she was talking to, she'd say, "Just Kate," or "Just work stuff," or "Just coordinating wedding details." Her mood improved dramatically. She seemed happier, lighter, more energetic than she'd been in years. She'd smile at her phone randomly. She'd hum while doing dishes. She seemed excited about life in a way that felt different from normal wedding excitement. 2 months before the trip, I tried to talk to her about it. "You seem really happy lately." I am. I'm excited about Kate's wedding. It's nice to have something fun to look forward to. It's more than that, though. You just seem different, in a good way. I've been working out more, feeling healthier, taking better care of myself. Maybe that's what you're noticing. Maybe. Or maybe something else was going on that I wasn't seeing. One evening in October, I came home early from the construction site. Jenny was on the phone in our bedroom, door closed. I heard her laughing, that genuine, delighted laugh she used to have when we first started dating but rarely had anymore. I knocked and opened the door. She quickly said, "I have to go. Talk later," and hung up. Who was that? Kate. We were talking about bridesmaid dress colors. You sounded really happy. Kate's funny. She was telling me about some disaster with the flower arrangement. It felt off, but I couldn't articulate why. I let it go. In November, Jenny started talking about the trip constantly, about the hotel where the wedding party was staying, about the beach, about how excited she was to spend a week with Kate before the wedding. What hotel is it? The Ocean View Resort, right on the beach in South Beach. Really beautiful. And you'll be there the whole week? Yep. December 5th through 12th. Wedding is on the 12th, and I'll fly home the 13th. I'll join you on the 11th then, day before the wedding. We can have one night together before everything gets crazy. Perfect. But she didn't seem as enthusiastic about me joining as I expected. Not unhappy, exactly. Just neutral. The week before Jenny's trip, I noticed she was packing expensive new outfits, multiple new swimsuits, high, full makeup collection, hairstyling tools. "You're packing a lot for a week," I observed. "I want options. Wedding week is busy. Rehearsal dinner, pre-wedding events, the ceremony, the reception. I need different outfits for different occasions." Made sense, but something still felt off. December 5th arrived. Jenny's flight was at 10. I took her to the airport before heading to the construction site. "Call me when you land," I said, kissing her goodbye. "I will. Love you. Love you too. Tell Kate congratulations for me." She wheeled her suitcase towards security, looking back once to wave. I drove to work, focused on the project. Didn't think much about Jenny's trip beyond hoping she'd have a good time with her sister. That evening, Jenny texted, "Landed safely. Hotel is beautiful. About to meet Kate for dinner. Miss you already. Miss you too. Have fun. Say hi to Kate." Over the next 2 days, Jenny sent occasional texts, photos of the beach, a selfie with Kate, updates about wedding preparations. Everything seemed normal. My project at work was progressing well. We were actually ahead of schedule. Unusual for construction, but we'd caught some breaks with weather and permits. By December 7th, my boss pulled me aside. "Mike, I've got good news. We're going to finish this project by end of day tomorrow. The final inspections moved up, and we're in better shape than expected." "Seriously? We're finishing on the 8th instead of the 15th? "Yep, which means you can take next week off if you want. I know you had to miss part of your sister-in-law's wedding. Maybe you can still make some of it." An idea hit me immediately. I could surprise Jenny, fly to Miami early, spend a few extra days with her, attend the wedding together, make it a real vacation instead of just flying in for one night. I didn't tell Jenny, wanted it to be a surprise. Instead, I texted, "Project is going well. Looking forward to seeing you on the 11th. Can't wait, she responded. That evening, I booked a flight for December 9th, arriving in Miami at 2 p.m. I'd go straight to the hotel, surprise Jenny at the Ocean View Resort, take her to a nice dinner, spend the next few days together before the wedding. I was excited. Felt like I was doing something romantic and spontaneous. Felt like we needed this. Some unexpected quality time away from our routine. December 9th arrived. I packed quickly that morning, arranged for Ben to stay with my sister, and headed to the airport. During the 4-hour flight, I imagined different scenarios for the surprise. Would I text her from the lobby? Call her room? Just show up at her door? I decided on showing up at her door. Most romantic option. I'd knock, she'd open it, be shocked and delighted. We'd laugh about the surprise. The plane landed at 2 p.m. I took an Uber to the Ocean View Resort, a beautiful beach property with palm trees and ocean views. Perfect wedding venue. I walked into the lobby with my small suitcase, approached the front desk, smiling. Hi, I'm here to surprise my wife. She's staying here with the wedding party. Her name is Jenny Parker. Room number. Actually, I don't know the room number. Can you tell me? The desk clerk, a young woman named Sophia, according to her name tag, looked uncomfortable. I'm sorry, sir. I can't give out guest room numbers for privacy reasons. I understand, but I'm her husband. I flew across the country to surprise her. Can you maybe call her room and tell her I'm here? Sophia hesitated. What's your wife's name again? Jenny Parker. She's here for her sister Kate's wedding. Sophia typed on her computer, frowned slightly. I have a Kate Morrison registered here with the wedding party, but I don't see a Jenny Parker. My stomach dropped slightly. Maybe she registered under her maiden name? Jenny Clark? More typing. No Jenny Clark either. That's strange. She told me she's staying here, the Ocean View Resort in South Beach. This is the Ocean View Resort, but I don't have anyone named Jenny registered. I pulled out my phone, found Jenny's texts about the hotel, showed Sophia. See? She said she's staying here. Sophia looked at the messages, then back at her computer. Her expression changed, something between pity and concern. Sir, can I ask, what does your wife look like? Brunette, about 5'5", brown eyes. Why? Sophia bit her lip. Sir, look, I shouldn't do this, but I recognize her from a photo you might have on your phone. If I'm right about who she is, she's registered here. Just not under the name you think. My heart started pounding. What do you mean? There's a couple registered in room 847, checked in on December 5th. The woman matches your wife's description, but she's registered as Jenny Martinez, sharing the room with an Alex Martinez. The lobby seemed to tilt. Martinez? Alex? I don't understand. Sophia looked genuinely sympathetic. Sir, I think maybe you should call your wife before going to the room. Can you give me a key to that room? I really shouldn't. Please. I need to know what's happening. Sophia looked around, conflicted. Finally, she said quietly, I'll make you a key. But sir, maybe prepare yourself for what you might find. She made a key card, handed it to me. Room 847, 8th floor. I took the key, hands shaking. Walked to the elevators in a daze. Rode up to the 8th floor, each second feeling like an hour. Found room 847 at the end of the hallway. I stood outside that door for what felt like forever but was probably 30 seconds. My mind raced through possibilities. Maybe there was an explanation. Maybe Jenny was helping someone named Alex with wedding planning. Maybe Sophia was wrong about the room assignment. But deep down, I knew. I knew before I opened that door what I was going to find. I pulled out my phone, opened the video camera, pressed record. Then I slid the key card into the lock. The light turned green. I opened the door. The room was dim, curtains mostly closed, but I could see the bed clearly. And in that bed, under white hotel sheets, was my wife, Jenny. And next to her, arm around her, was a man I'd never seen before. Dark hair, probably around my age, sleeping peacefully. They were both naked. I could see Jenny's bare shoulders, the man's bare chest. Their clothes were scattered on the floor. 2 wine glasses sat on the nightstand. Time seemed to stop. I stood in that doorway, phone recording, unable to move or speak, just staring at the scene that was destroying my entire world. Jenny stirred first, opened her eyes, saw me standing there. For a split second, she looked confused. Then her expression shifted to pure horror. Mike? What? How? Her scream woke the man. He sat up, saw me, grabbed the sheet to cover himself. Who the hell are you? I'm her husband, I said, my voice sounding distant and strange to my own ears. Who the hell are you? Jenny was scrambling now, pulling the sheet around herself, tears already streaming down her face. Mike, please, I can explain. Explain what? Explain why you're in bed with another man? Explain why you lied about Kate's wedding? Explain why you're registered as Jenny Martinez? The man, Alex apparently, looked at Jenny in confusion. Husband? You said you were divorced. You told him you were divorced? I asked, still recording, still standing in the doorway like I was watching a play instead of my life imploding. Mike, please put the phone down. please, let me explain. Is Kate even getting married? Silence. That was answer enough. Is she? I demanded louder now. No, Jenny whispered. Kate got married in June, in Atlanta. You were on a work trip. I told you I was going to her wedding, but you couldn't make it because you lied. You've been lying for months. I kept recording, captured Jenny crying, Alex looking panicked and confused, the hotel room that was supposed to be for wedding preparations, but was actually for an affair. How long? I asked. Mike, how long have you been sleeping with him? 3 months. We met online. I didn't mean for this to happen. I felt invisible. You're always working, always focused on the project, never have time for meets anymore. Alex made me feel seen again. The classic excuse, I'm lonely, so I'll cheat and blame you for it. Does Ben know you're here with your boyfriend instead of at a wedding? Don't. Bring Ben into this. Our son thinks his mom is at Aunt Kate's wedding. He doesn't know his mom is actually on vacation with a man she met on the internet. Alex finally spoke again. Look, man, I didn't know she was still married. She told me she was divorced, that she had a kid, but the dad wasn't in the picture much. I wouldn't have— Save it, I interrupted. I don't care about your excuses. I looked at Jenny, who was sobbing now, mascara running down her face. This woman I'd trusted completely. This woman I'd built a life with. This woman who'd lied to my face while planning a week-long romantic vacation with another man. I'll be filing for divorce when we get home, I said calmly. Don't contact me. Don't come back to the house. Your stuff will be in storage. You can figure out where to stay. Mike, please? How much did this trip cost? What? This hotel room. The flights. The new clothes. How much of our money did you spend on your affair? She didn't answer. I checked our banking app on my phone, saw the charges from the past week. $8,000. You spent $8,000 of our savings on this trip. I'll pay you back. You're damn right you will. My attorney will make sure of it. I stopped recording, saved the video to the cloud immediately, sent copies to myself via email. Evidence secured. Then I looked at both of them one more time. Jenny crying, begging me to listen. Alex looking like he wanted to be anywhere else on earth. Enjoy the rest of your vacation, I said. I'll be at a different hotel. Don't try to find me. I walked out, closed the door behind me, and made it to the elevator before my hands started shaking uncontrollably. Made it to the lobby before the full weight of what I'd just witnessed hit me. Made it to a bench outside the hotel before I had to sit down because my legs wouldn't hold me anymore. My wife, in bed with another man, in a hotel room registered under a fake name, after lying to me for months about her sister's wedding that never existed. Everything I thought I knew about my marriage, about Jenny, about our life together, it was all a lie, a carefully constructed facade she'd maintained while planning this trip, this week with her lover, funded by our joint savings while I worked 60-hour weeks to support our family. I sat on that bench for I don't know how long. Could have been minutes or hours. Eventually, I pulled out my phone and started making calls. First call, my attorney. I need to file for divorce. Immediately. I have video evidence of my wife's affair. She's in Miami right now with another man, on a trip she paid for with our joint savings by lying about attending a wedding that doesn't exist. Second call, my sister. I need you to keep Ben for a while longer. Jenny and I, it's over. I'll explain everything when I get back. Third call, Kate, Jenny's sister. Kate, it's Mike. When did you get married? Pause. In June. Why? And you're not getting married in Miami in December? No. Mike, what's going on? Your sister told me you were getting married this month in Miami. She's been there since December 5th, supposedly helping with wedding preparations, but she's actually here with a man named Alex, having an affair. Oh my God. Mike, I had no idea. I swear I didn't know. I believe you. I just needed to confirm the wedding was a lie. I hung up and sat there on that bench, destroyed and empty and furious and heartbroken all at once. My wife had traded our family for a vacation with a stranger, had lied for months, had spent our savings, had looked me in the eye and smiled while planning her betrayal, and I'd been completely blind to all of it, too trusting, too focused on work, too convinced our marriage was stable to see that my wife had already left it long before I caught her in that hotel room. The romantic surprise I'd planned had become the worst moment of my life, but it was also the moment that saved me from wasting any more of my life on someone who saw our marriage as disposable. I sat on that bench outside the Ocean View Resort for another 30 minutes before I could think clearly enough to move. The Miami sun was bright and warm. Tourists walked past laughing and taking photos, but I felt completely disconnected from everything around me. My world had just shattered and no one else even noticed. Finally, I stood up, grabbed my suitcase, and walked down the street to the first hotel I saw. A Marriott. Nothing fancy, but clean and far enough from the ocean view that I wouldn't accidentally run into Jenny or Alex. I checked in, went to my room, and immediately got to work. Because here's what I'd learned from watching friends go through messy divorces. Emotions are valid, but evidence wins, and I had a very limited window in Miami to gather as much evidence as possible before Jenny could start damage control. First, I organized what I already had. The video I'd recorded was damning. Clear footage of Jenny in bed with Alex. Her admission that the affair had been going on for 3 months. Her confession that Kate's wedding was a lie. I uploaded it to 3 different cloud storage accounts and emailed it to myself from 2 different email addresses. No way was I losing this evidence. Next, I reviewed our joint bank account transactions from the past week. Jenny had spent exactly $8,247.89 since arriving in Miami. Hotel charges, restaurant bills, shopping, spa treatments. She'd funded this entire romantic vacation with our money we'd been setting aside for Ben's college fund, for emergencies, for our future. She'd drained it to play house with her affair partner. I took screenshots of every transaction, saved them to my evidence folder. Financial infidelity in addition to the regular kind. Then I went back downstairs to the Ocean View Resort, found Sophia, the desk clerk who'd helped me earlier. I need to ask you a few questions, if you don't mind, about the couple in room 847. Sophia looked uncomfortable but sympathetic. I really shouldn't discuss other guests. I understand, but you've already confirmed they're there. I just need to know, how long has that room been booked? And is there any other information you can share that might help me in divorce proceedings? Sophia glanced around to make sure no other staff were nearby. Look, I could lose my job for this, but I saw what you walked into upstairs and I feel terrible. They booked the room for 7 nights, December 5th through 12th, registered as Mr. and Mrs. Martinez. They've been very coupley, holding hands in the lobby, kissing by the pool, romantic dinners at the hotel restaurant. Everyone on staff thought they were married. Do you have any documentation of that? Receipts from the restaurant with both their names? Anything showing they were posing as a married couple? I can print you their itemized hotel bill. Shows all charges to the room, including couples spa treatments, romantic dinner packages, things like that. Would that help? Immensely. Sophia printed me a full itemized statement for room 847. It was devastating in its detail. Couples massage for 2 on December 6th. Romantic beachfront dinner on December 7th. Champagne and chocolate-covered strawberries charged to the room on December. Breakfast in bed for 2 every morning. This wasn't a casual affair. This was Jenny playing out a fantasy life with Alex while I was home working and taking care of our son. Thank you, I told Sophia. You've been incredibly helpful. I'm sorry you're going through this, she said quietly. I hope things work out for you. Back at my hotel, I called my attorney again. His name was Robert Chen, and he specialized in divorce cases. I'd used him for some contract review work before and knew he was sharp and aggressive. Robert, it's Mike Parker. I sent you an email with video evidence of my wife's affair. Did you get it? I did. Mike, this is pretty clear-cut evidence. With this video, the financial records you mentioned, and documentation that she lied about the purpose of this trip, we have a very strong case. What do I need to do next? First, document everything, every interaction with her, every expense she's charged, every lie you can prove. Second, when you get home, separate your finances immediately. Close joint accounts or at least freeze them so she can't drain more funds. Third, move her belongings out of the marital home, legally. Since you're the primary income earner and she abandoned the home to conduct an affair, you have a strong claim to exclusive possession. Fourth, file for divorce immediately. We'll request primary custody based on her abandonment and infidelity. Will I get primary custody? Based on what you've told me, she lied about this trip, left your son with relatives while she vacationed with her affair partner, drained joint savings for personal gratification. Yes, I believe you have a strong case for primary custody. Courts prioritize the child's best interests, and a mother who abandons her child for a week to pursue an affair doesn't look good. What about the money she spent? That's marital asset dissipation. She spent joint funds on her affair, which is typically recoverable in divorce proceedings. We'll document every penny and request reimbursement. Good, because I want her to face real consequences for this. She will. Trust me. With evidence this clear, she's in a very weak position. After hanging up with Robert, I made another call to Alex's phone. I'd seen the number on Jenny's phone records that I'd pulled from our shared family plan account. He answered cautiously. Hello? It's Mike, Jenny's husband. We need to talk. Look, man, I already told you. I know what you told me, that you thought she was divorced. I want to know more about you. Are you married? Silence. You are, aren't you? That's none of your business. Actually, it is, because if you're married, your wife deserves to know what you've been doing in Miami, just like I deserve to know what my wife was doing. Don't you dare! What's your last name, Alex? Let me guess. It's not actually Martinez, is it? More silence. Tell me your real last name, or I'll hire a private investigator to find out. And trust me, I will find out. He sighed heavily. Rodriguez. Alex Rodriguez. And yes, I'm married, but my marriage was already over. We're separated. Does your wife know you're in Miami with another woman? She knows we're separate, but not about Jenny. Got it. Well, Alex Rodriguez, your wife is about to find out, because I believe in transparency, and she deserves to know the truth just like I deserve to know. You're an asshole. No, you're an asshole. You slept with a married woman who has a 5-year-old son at home. I'm just making sure everyone knows the truth. I hung up and immediately searched social media for Alex Rodriguez in Miami. Found him in about 10 minutes. Distinctive profile photo. Worked in real estate. Married to a woman named Carmen. I sent Carmen a message. Hi, Carmen. You don't know me, but I need to tell you something about your husband. He's currently in Miami at the Ocean View Resort with my wife Jenny. They've been having an affair for 3 months. I just caught them in bed together today. I thought you deserved to know. I have photo and video evidence if you need it. I felt a little guilty potentially destroying another marriage. But Carmen deserved the truth just like I had. And if Alex's marriage was already over, like he claimed, this wouldn't matter anyway. That evening, my phone rang. It was Jenny. I let it go to voicemail. She called 3 more times. I ignored all of them. Finally, she texted, "Mike, please, we need to talk. I'm so sorry. I made a horrible mistake. Please give me a chance to explain." I responded, "There's nothing to explain. You lied for months, had an affair, spent our savings on a vacation with another man. That's all I need to know. My attorney will be in touch. What about Ben? I need to see my son. You should have thought about Ben before you abandoned him to sleep with your boyfriend. You'll see him according to whatever custody arrangement the court orders. You can't keep me from my son. I'm not keeping you from him. You chose to leave him for a week to have an affair. Actions have consequences. You'll have visitation rights, but I'm filing for primary custody. This is insane. You're punishing me. No, I'm protecting our son from your terrible decision-making. There's a difference." She called again. I blocked her number. An hour later, Kate called. "Mike, Jenny told me what happened. I'm so sorry. I had no idea she was doing this." "I know. I believe you. But Kate, I need to know. Has she been lying about other trips, other girls' weekends, or work conferences?" Kate hesitated. "I don't know for sure, but now that you mention it, she told me she was coming to visit me in Atlanta back in October for a weekend, but she never showed up. Said something came up at the last minute. I wonder now if she was with Alex instead." "Yeah. God, Mike, I feel terrible. I should have questioned things more. It's not your fault. She lied to both of us. What are you going to do? Divorce her. Get primary custody of Ben. Make sure she pays back the money she stole from our savings. Move on with my life. I don't blame you. What she did is unforgivable." The next morning, December 10th, I decided to spend one more day in Miami gathering evidence before flying home. I went back to the Ocean View Resort and spoke with the restaurant manager where Jenny and Alex had their romantic dinners. "I'm investigating some fraudulent charges on my credit card," I lied. "There are several charges from your restaurant on dates when I was supposedly here with someone. Can you tell me if you have any records or security footage from December 6th and 7th? The manager was helpful, pulled up records. "We have a reservation for 2 under Martinez on both nights. I can pull security footage if you need to dispute the charges with your credit card company. That would be incredibly helpful." He burned me a copy of footage showing Jenny and Alex at a candlelit table, holding hands, kissing between courses, looking like newlyweds on their honeymoon. More evidence for the growing file. I also visited the spa where they'd gotten couples treatment. Same story. Signed in under Martinez, presented as a married couple, enjoyed side-by-side massages and romantic packages. By the time I finished, I had a comprehensive documentation of Jenny's affair. Video, photos, financial records, witness statements, security footage, an airtight case that she'd not only had an affair but had deliberately planned and funded it, while lying to me about her sister's fictional wedding. That evening, I got a message from Carmen Rodriguez, Alex's wife. "Thank you for telling me. I had suspicions but no proof. Your evidence confirmed everything. I'm filing for divorce too. I'm sorry for what you're going through." "I'm sorry for both of us," I replied. "We deserved better." "We did, but at least now we know the truth." I flew home on December 11th, the date I was supposed to be joining Jenny in Miami for Kate's wedding. Instead, I was returning alone to a home I'd soon be sharing with just Ben to begin divorce proceedings that would end my 8-year marriage. My sister dropped Ben off that evening. He ran to me, excited. "Daddy, did you go see Mommy in Miami?" "I did, buddy, but I came back early. I missed you too much. When is Mommy coming home?" "In a couple of days. But Ben, Mommy and I need to talk to you about something soon. We're going to be living in different houses for a while." "Like Jake's parents?" "One of his kindergarten friends whose parents were divorced." "Yeah, like that. But both Mommy and I love you very much. That will never change." He seemed to accept this easily. 5-year-olds are resilient in ways adults aren't. The next day, December 12th, the date of the fictional wedding, I executed my plan. I'd arranged for movers to come to the house. They packed up all of Jenny's belongings, clothes, personal items, everything that was clearly hers, and moved it to a storage unit I'd rented in her name, changed the locks on the house, closed our joint accounts and opened new ones in just my name, moving my income there, filed the divorce papers with Robert's help. By the time Jenny's flight landed on December 13th, she no longer had access to our home, our accounts, or any of our shared resources. She called from the airport, furious. "The locks are changed. I can't get into my own house. It's my house. My name is on the deed. You abandoned it to have an affair. Your belongings are in storage at Miami Storage Solutions, Unit 247. The key is in an envelope taped to the front door. You can't do this." "I already did. You'll be receiving divorce papers today. My attorney's information is on them. All communication goes through him from now on." "What about Ben?" "Ben is with me. You can have supervised visitation until we establish a custody arrangement." "Supervised? I'm his mother. You're also someone who abandoned him for a week to sleep with your boyfriend while lying about attending a wedding. Until we have a court order saying otherwise, I'm being cautious." She showed up at the house an hour later, pounding on the door. I didn't answer. She called the police, claiming I was illegally keeping her out of her home. The police arrived, reviewed the deed showing my name, reviewed the divorce papers showing her abandonment and infidelity, and told her there was nothing they could do. "You need to work this out through family." "Court, ma'am," the officer told her. "He has legal right to the property, and you've been served divorce papers. This is a civil matter now." Jenny had to get a hotel room that night, had to borrow money from her parents because her access to our accounts was cut off, had to face the reality that her actions had immediate and severe consequences. Over the next few weeks, the divorce proceeded. Jenny hired an attorney and tried to fight for joint custody and half of everything, but Robert systematically destroyed her case. "Your Honor, Mrs. Parker abandoned her 5-year-old son for a week to conduct an affair with a man she met online. She lied to her husband about the purpose of the trip, claiming to attend a wedding that didn't exist. She spent $8,247.89 of marital savings to fund this affair. We have video evidence, financial records, and witness statements documenting all of this. Mrs. Parker's judgment is clearly impaired, and Mr. Parker should be awarded primary custody." Jenny's attorney tried to argue that one mistake shouldn't define her as a mother, that she'd been emotionally neglected in the marriage and made a poor choice but still loved her son. But the judge wasn't sympathetic. "Mrs. Parker, you didn't make one mistake. You made dozens of calculated decisions over 3 months to plan and execute an extramarital affair. You lied repeatedly to your husband and family. You spent significant marital assets on your affair partner. This shows a pattern of deception and poor judgment that concerns the court regarding custody. The judge awarded me primary custody, 70-30 split, with Jenny getting alternating weekends and one weeknight. She had to pay me child support based on her income. She had to reimburse $8,247.80 to the marital estate for the money spent on her affair. The house went to me since my income could support it and she'd abandoned it. She got some of the retirement accounts and other assets, but far less than she'd have gotten in a standard 50-50 split. Jenny was devastated by the ruling, tried to appeal. The appeal was denied. Her life fell apart quickly. She'd already lost her marriage and most of her custody. Then she lost most of her friends. Word spread about what she'd done, and people didn't want to associate with someone who'd abandoned their child for an affair partner. Her relationship with her parents became strained when they learned the full truth. Kate barely spoke to her anymore, furious that Jenny had used a fake wedding as her cover story. And Alex? Carmen had indeed filed for divorce. Alex lost his marriage too, and apparently, once the affair was no longer secret and forbidden, his relationship with Jenny fizzled quickly. They tried to make it work for a few months after both divorces were filed, but by March they'd broken up. Turned out their connection was based more on the excitement of sneaking around than actual compatibility. 6 months after discovering the affair, I was settling into my new life. Ben lived with me during the week, had a good routine, was adjusting well to the divorce. Jenny saw him on her weekends, but struggled with the transition. She'd moved to a small apartment, was working full-time to support herself, had lost the comfortable life she'd had as part of our marriage. I went to therapy to process the betrayal and trust issues. Dr. Sarah Mendez helped me understand that Jenny's choices weren't about me or anything I did wrong. People who cheat do it because of their own issues, their need for validation, their inability to communicate in their relationship, their selfishness. Your long work hours didn't cause this. Her choice to handle her feelings through deception and infidelity caused this. I keep wondering what I missed, what signs I ignored. Probably several, but you were operating on trust, which is what you're supposed to do in a marriage. She violated that trust. That's on her, not you. A year after the Miami trip, I started dating again. Nothing serious, just getting comfortable being single again. Remembering who I was outside of being Jenny's husband. I met a woman named Rachel at Ben's school. Another single parent, divorced for different reasons, with a daughter Ben's age. We started as friends, then slowly became something more. She was kind, honest, straightforward, everything Jenny wasn't. 2 years after the divorce, I'm 37. Ben is 7 and thriving. He has a stable home with me, regular visits with his mom, and he's adjusted remarkably well. My relationship with Rachel has gotten serious. We're talking about moving in together, blending our families. Work is going well. I was promoted to senior construction manager with a nice salary increase. Life is good. Different than I planned, but good. Jenny is 35 now, still working, still in her small apartment, still seeing Ben on her limited custody time. I hear through mutual acquaintances that she's dating occasionally, but nothing serious. She apparently tells people she made a huge mistake and lost everything because of one bad decision. But it wasn't one bad decision. It was 3 months of calculated lies and betrayals. It was choosing to spend our savings on an affair instead of our family. It was abandoning our son for a week to play house with a stranger. It was the fundamental selfishness of prioritizing her fantasy over our reality. 5 years after Miami, Ben is 10. He barely remembers his parents being married, doesn't remember the trauma of the divorce. He has a good relationship with both parents, though he's closer to me since I'm his primary home. Rachel and I got married last year. Small ceremony, blended family celebration, healthy and honest foundation. Jenny is 38, still single, still working with the consequences of her choices. We communicate only about Ben, polite, distant, transactional. She's no longer the woman I married, and I'm no longer the man who trusted her blindly. Looking back at that moment in the Miami hotel, opening the door to find my wife in bed with another man, I remember feeling like my life was ending, like everything I'd built was collapsing irreparably. But it wasn't ending. It was transforming. The life I'd built with Jenny was based on lies and betrayal I didn't know existed. Discovering the truth destroyed that false life, but freed me to build a real one. The surprise trip to Miami was supposed to be romantic. Instead, it became the catalyst for the most painful period of my life. But it also saved me from wasting more years in a marriage with someone who saw our vows as optional and our family as secondary to her desires. 7 years later, I'm grateful for that surprise. Not for the pain it caused, but for the truth it revealed. Because living in ignorance while being betrayed is worse than the painful clarity of knowing who someone really is. Jenny thought she could have both lives, devoted wife and mother at home, exciting affair partner in secret. She thought she could maintain the lie indefinitely, that I'd never discover the truth, that she could have her fantasy without losing her reality. She was wrong. And that miscalculation cost her everything she'd taken for granted. Her marriage, her home, her son's daily presence, her comfortable life, her social circle, her reputation. The last time I saw Jenny was at Ben's 10th birthday party. She showed up for her designated time slot, brought a gift, sang happy birthday, then left. We were polite to each other, civil, completely distant. As I watched her drive away, I felt nothing. No anger, no sadness, no longing for what we'd had. Just neutral acknowledgement that she was Ben's mother and nothing more to me. And that's when I knew I'd truly moved on. When the woman who'd shattered my life became just another person I used to know. The romantic surprise in Miami destroyed my marriage, but it saved my life.